Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about what your ex meant when they said they need space.
We're not talking about outer space.
Yes, we're not talking about Star Wars. You know, when somebody says to you that they need space, I need space, I need it. It's so confusing because it can mean so many things. You know, it's not a breakup. It's this ambiguous place where you're like on hold. It's like a purgatory or something.
And it's hard because we take it as a gut punch of rejection. Like, you need space from me. Am I not fun to hang out with 24/7? Am I not just the most enjoyable thing? But a lot of times we can take it personally because it's hard to hear that our partner wants to not be with us or not be spending time with us. Most of the time, it's because of their overwhelm or whatever is going on in their world.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about first. I know it's easy to take it personally, and it's hard not to take something like this that happens in a relationship personally.
And it's hard not knowing. People hate uncertainty. That is one of the hardest things people have to deal with in life. And that's one of the things that we're always trying to teach you guys, whether you realize it or not, is handling uncertainty. It's one of the most attractive things that you can do.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of the times, there's a lot of uncertainty on your ex's side as well at the time where they ask for space. They're not sure what's going to happen in the future. They're not committing maybe to a full breakup when they say I need space, at least quite yet.
Yeah.
And so they have that feeling of I need time to think for myself. I need to think outside of this relationship and see what I come up with.
And I think that whatever you do or don't do in this time is going to have an impact on whether it leads to a breakup or not. I think many times when somebody says this to you, you don't want to sit with that uncertainty, and it winds up pressuring them when they've asked for space, and then it winds up in a breakup.
Oh, yeah, because then they get aggravated, then they feel like their space is encroached on and that they can't have space, and then it becomes a different issue altogether. So that could be something that's really tough to deal with, too. And remember, this is something I say a lot. We don't live in a bubble. At least most of us don't.
Except for the bubble boy.
Except for the bubble boy. He does live in a bubble.
Don't ask him about the moops. You probably have no idea what that is.
I know about the movie, but I don't know about the moops.
Oh, the Seinfeld. There was a bubble boy in Seinfeld.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they played Trivial Pursuit with him, and one of the answers was supposed to be the Moors.
Oh.
But it said the Moops as a misprint. And this is it was really a misprint in the actual game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so it led to a big fight, and then he pops his own bubble trying to strangle someone.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, no. We're not talking about the bubble boy here.
Yeah, except for the bubble boy. R.I.P.
He's the only one who lives in a bubble.
Actually, I don't know if he made it. I can't remember
really?
if he makes it or not.
Oh, I don't know.
He's an angry bubble boy. Okay,
Oh.
this bubble boy I'm talking about, he's angry.
We're gonna Google some things later and find out.
What happened to the bubble boy?
Exactly. And so there's going to be other things in that person's life that are probably going on. And so we have to consider that, because external things can impact stress levels, and they might have that feeling of I need to tend to these things on my own.
Yes, it's hard for you to understand that. It is so hard because all you want to do is repair, and all you want to do is fix it and help them and be there for them, and they're literally asking you for the exact opposite.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like takes a lot of energy and effort not to reach out every single day.
And mind you that some of the stuff might also be things that they're shameful about, that they want to deal with on their own. Not everybody is okay with being as vulnerable. Maybe it's certain health issues. Maybe it's family problems. Maybe it's something that's going on in their mind that's really hard to be open with you about. So there could be a numerous amount of things. There could be many, many things that they are dealing with outside of the relationship that is bringing them stress. So I know our first instinct is to say it's our fault somehow. Take a step back first and consider all of the other factors here.
Absolutely. For some people, asking for that space is the only way they know how to communicate in that moment. It's too overwhelming for them to talk about it, and they don't want to deal with that conversation. They don't want to deal with, anyone else. Like, sometimes they just want to shut down to deal with things. And that's the only way they can let you know that. Avoidants a lot of times feel very trapped by the obligations of having to be responsible for somebody else's feelings and needs. And getting outside of their own routine of what they want to do with their life, and they can feel like they're losing themselves. That's what they often say. I feel like I'm losing myself in this relationship, especially if they're avoidant, okay? Anxious people usually don't worry about that. They're like, I want to fuse forever. Fuse with me forever. I just met you. Let's get married. You're laughing because it's true.
It is true.
But for the avoidant, they don't feel like that. They feel like they look at things practically sometimes. Like, you know, I only get to see you 3 times a week when I want to see you 5 times a week. And I just don't know if I can be in with a relationship with somebody like that. And you're like, what? The anxious person, like, I'll see you 5 times a week. I'm like, no, it's too late.
Yeah, right? Stuff that doesn't make sense sometimes.
Yeah, but for them, like, even like a practical change to their routine or lifestyle makes them feel like this is getting me away from what's important to me, like my school, or I had somebody that didn't get into a program or something recently, and then they led to a breakup because I'm like, oh yeah, they're probably feeling like, had I not been in this relationship, I would have been more committed to getting into that program. And so they blame the person.
Oh yeah.
Ultimately.
When someone's performance is suffering at work or at school or with family or even in their social life, like they're not being as social as they would want to be, or their friends might be disappointed that they're not spending as much time, this can pop up often. They blame the relationship kind of as the go-to of, these things are falling apart in my life because of you, because of this relationship.
And it's not fair, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there could be some truth to it.
Right.
Like, had they not spent as much time with you, that thing would have happened. Maybe they would have gotten that promotion, or they wouldn't have, gotten denied for their program or admittance to school or something. But at the same time, they didn't maybe even tell you, hey, I need to spend time to study.
Exactly. And it can be very difficult, especially for those with more avoidant attachment styles, to get into the specifics and dig into that, because even that can feel like a conflict type of conversation. So they can be avoidant to that whole conversation, that whole thing. It's just easier to slap, hey, I need space to it, to kind of give them some time to figure out whatever they need to figure out.
Yep.
And it's part of a relationship, learning how to manage your own independent self while being together and working that out. So it can be hard, when you're trying to figure out that balance.
It is very, very challenging.
Yeah.
Because everything inside of you wants to connect. Everything inside you, I said this to a client the other day, it's like trying not to say some of those things to them. It feels like your soul is being sucked out of your body. and it's like you're desperate. It's just like coming out of you like, we can fix this. I do love you. Take as much time as you need. Let's talk. All these things, it's so hard not to say, because it just feels kind of like your life is dependent on the connection and keeping that connection going.
And the reality is, sometimes I need space is code for I don't know what I want yet, or I'm figuring things out even between us. And that's the harder thing.
And it's true. And sometimes it's because they have interest in somebody else.
It could be.
That is a very real thing, that sometimes they see something like, we don't line up exactly the way I want. And so they find these practical reasons why they shouldn't be with you, like I said earlier. And next thing you know, they're breaking up with you. For you, it's like something small, but they're making it seem like something big.
Yeah. One thing about this is that it is more of an honest approach on their end, or an attempt at an honest approach about what's going on. If they are just not sure where they're at with the relationship, not if they're seeing someone else, just to be clear. That's not an honest approach to say I need space if you're interested in someone else. That's not what I meant. I meant more so in terms of not being sure of where the relationship stands. And so it kind of gives you a hint of where they're at, so you can begin to temper your expectations and kind of go from there. And this is typically where people start to panic, because you think, oh, I'm losing this.
Yes.
And there may be nothing I can do about it. And that's where the panic and anxiety sets in. And that's often where we start to try to fix and overwhelm our partner. And then they become aggravated and now double down on this. So it is much better to say, okay, you need space. I'm going to give you that space. You figure that out and really work on managing your anxiety during that time. That is the best thing you can do when someone is on the fence, to say, hey, I'm here, this relationship is here if you want, while we're still in this figuring it out kind of stage. But if not, I will be okay. That's the message that you want to be able to send.
The more that you struggle with being able to give that space, you need to think about how it feels for you inside of you, like internally. How difficult of a challenge is it? Maybe on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, obviously, it's not going to be all the same at all the time. But if most of the day it feels like a 7 to not reach out, or a lot of the times, that's reflective of your attachment issues. And you have to work through that, because if you don't, you're just going to do all the things that push them away further.
Right. And on attachment issues, one scenario that comes up that is difficult to deal with is if you were the more avoidant partner in the relationship and your partner was more anxious, and then the anxious partner tells you that they need space.
Yeah.
Because then you're saying, wait a minute, this person is distancing and they're normally super loving and they're normally the pursuer. And I was so avoidant. If I do nothing now, or if I give them that space, then am I just proving to them why they should leave?
Yeah. Because a lot of times it's because, and a lot of times the anxious person is really frustrated that they've been neglected for a long time.
Yeah.
And so now the avoidant is like, no, I don't want to neglect you anymore. I'm ready to be there.
Yep. And so I see the pendulum swing so often in these scenarios. And then a lot of times it's overkill. You know, there's overwhelming. It doesn't come off as sincere. It comes off as like damage repair more than anything.
And it's going to anger them.
Yeah.
Because they're going to say, well, why didn't you do these things when I begged you 5,000 times in the relationship? And what are you going to say to that?
Right.
Because they're right.
Yeah. So it's much better to have an empathetic approach, even to them asking for space, because a lot of times they just want to know or figure out if they can do it on their own. And ultimately, even if your partner is more anxious, you want them to want you for you. You know, you want to be able to own up to the ways that you may have shown up avoidantly and be empathetic towards their request for space, but you don't want them to want you just because they're anxious. You might say you do, but you really don't.
Yeah. It's a lot to think about, but you really got to understand that if they ask for space, you have to give it. You don't want to give it. It feels like you're going to die to give it, but if you don't, it's going to often kill the connection.
Oh, yeah. And during this time, don't jump to conclusions. Sometimes I need space is I'm preparing to see if this will end, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes people are genuinely in a really stressful place in life and they have to give more attention to something else going on. And sometimes in this period where it's kind of ambiguous, it kind of feels like this purgatory, we start to jump to conclusions to get away from that discomfort of uncertainty. It's much better to just take it at face value. This is the relationship now. You know, my partner's needing space right now. That doesn't mean a breakup, but that also doesn't mean, you know, we're getting married tomorrow. So temper your expectations with it and consider the factors of, you know, what's going on in their life. How can you have compassion to that while also considering your needs and protecting yourself? So it's not easy.
No, it is not. It's very, very challenging to do, and so many of you guys struggle with it. And there are a lot of different nuances to every situation. Every situation is different. And I say that all the time, and that's why we offer coaching, because when you're going through this, we're going to be able to talk about those little things that happen in the relationship or that led up to it or that they said to you, and we can help you figure out how to navigate that.
Oh, yeah. And space and closeness, this is one of those things that is probably the most common and perpetual conflict in relationships, maybe of all time.
Absolutely.
And so this is the balance. And for many of us, it's a life task to figure out how close do we want to be with someone? How much independence do we want? So,
and that's something I'm very proud of, because that really wasn't talked about before the channel. Like when we launched the channel, that is something that Margaret and I really had to put together when we were talking about attachment styles and breakups, and how the space and closeness had such a huge component of it. But nobody was talking about that before. So it's so amazing to see that now people are starting to see that when you manage that, your relationship will get so much healthier, and your connections will be stronger, the attraction will stay higher, and the relationships will be overall a much better experience for both people.
Right.
When you can just fix that one area.
Yeah, and it's a developmental step. So Margaret talked a lot about Erikson's psychosocial developmental stages, and the adult one is intimacy versus isolation. So that's the whole idea, is how close do we want to be? How intimate with others can we be versus how isolated are we? So a lot to figure out, and there's no easy answers to this, but have compassion for yourself throughout this process. And if you are hearing from a partner that they need space, consider what we've said, Really focus on managing your anxiety in this moment.
And you can book a coaching with us. Just go to my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.